Hi, folks. No, I don't like high folks anymore. I don't know. I need a change. Hi, folks. I've been doing it for years. For my friend Ricky, it used to be thanks for tuning in. Hi, folks. Thanks for tuning in. And he'll still say that to me from time to time. But I don't like hi, folks. I don't know. Anyways, why you feel so drained? Why you feel? I mean, I'm projecting here. I'm assuming, but why you feel like you know you don't have much energy. You see the lightning there? Why you don't feel like you have much energy throughout the day, how you feel like you could take a nap several times or at least once, a good solid nap during the day. Um, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you inspired? Why aren't you motivated? Maybe in certain areas you are motivated, but overall it's like a slug. It's like a drag. We're dragging ourselves a lot of the time through the day, whatever it is. And that's the truth. Because for me, I mean, there's many reasons why we feel drained, why we feel overwhelmed, why we feel exhausted. It's not just ourselves, it's many people. But I think for most, they just have the ability to continue and carry on like mindlessly and aimlessly. And a lot of times aimlessly, or just because they have to, just because they're in survival mode. So they really have to, carry on. I mean, and we all do to a certain degree, but some of us are really sensitive, and some of us have to process a lot of things. Some of us really have to think things through, reflect on things, just try and be present as much as we can, and so on and so forth, and grow throughout this experience that we're having. And so it's very, very taxing. It's very draining on us. And so for most, they are able to, with the coffees, with the energy drinks, like my brother who's pretty much addicted to it, to just the distraction and whatever it is, to just, the adrenaline's always pumping. And for ourselves as conscious individuals, adrenaline is not our prime force of motivation or fuel, if you want, or whatever it is. A lot of people are fueled by fear. I'm not fueled by fear, motivated by fear. I'm not motivated by fear. I mean, I don't feel that, like, and there's many things, but like a fear of not being able to keep up with the Joneses, for example. This was kind of in the older world, if you will, BC, before Verona. Not before Christ, but BC, before Verona. I'm not going to say the word. But anyways, one of the things that I feel trapped by is being trapped. You feel caged in. You feel your options are very low, are very few, and you just having to you don't have much choice in regards to people in your life. You don't have much choice in the way that you would like to live your life. You don't have much freedom. You don't have much freedom at all, and freedom seems to be getting smaller and smaller. And you don't want to. You're not connecting with the people that you want to be connecting with. You don't necessarily are eating the food that you want to be eating with. You're not able to be authentic the way that you're wanting to be. Can't have the real relationships that you're wanting to be. You're not doing things that are meaningful to you. That, I mean, for most of us, that are bringing in money and things like that. For maybe some of us, but not all of us. You can't. It's very hard to make a living doing what you're really wanting to be doing. And feeling fulfilled by it. It's very difficult. And it's not an option for many of us. Many of us are not sociable people, right? That I've come across. I'm not sociable. I'm sociable when I have to be, but like, we are the outsiders, right? We find a very, very hard time to be on the same wavelength, or to be on common ground with other folk, with other people, right? From so many levels, obviously. And so being with them is often draining. Often they're not meeting us where we'd like to be met. They're not understanding our sensitivity. They're not understanding our curiosity, our time, ability to take it slow. This is like, whoa, scary but beautiful, isn't it? That was quite close, and I have my modem plugged in. Nature. It's another thing we remove from nature, Man, oh man. So like that's it. I mean, if we lived I've said this so many times, if we lived in a social community of like-minded individuals, self-sustaining, where each one of us had found what we enjoyed doing, whether it was arts and crafts, whether it was farming, whether it was carpentry, whether it was being the shaman, whether it was whatever it might, I mean, so many areas, taking care of the children, whatever it is. And in almost every meal, if you wanted to, we all came together and we spoke and we shared and we told jokes and stories and we philosophized and, whatever it is. And, we did ritual ceremonies on full moons and took some psychedelics and, whatever it is, and traded with one another, just all different sorts of, like, just thoughtful, memorable, meaningful things, just whatever it is, like, and you didn't feel the pressure. You just felt at home. You just felt safe. You just felt comforted, and look at it this way, right? You might say, well, if you take your average city folk, your average person from the Matrix, and you put them in that kind of environment of what I'm just talking about, in that kind of tribe, right, that kind of community, they would never want that, They would never want that because again, we in our tribe, we wouldn't be worshipping technology. We wouldn't be addicted to technology, right? We wouldn't be addicted to status. We wouldn't be addicted, for most of us, I really believe we would feel inspired to get off, high sugar diet, not have a lot of sugar in our diets, to eat more, organically, to eat more foods that are alive, raw, not processed or whatever it is. We would eventually, get off that, and whatever it is we would use. And but the Matrix people would never want that. They wouldn't know how to conduct themselves, behave themselves, find it very interesting or very meaningful in that way. They wouldn't be able to adjust whatsoever. There's some more lightning. Waiting for the thunder. They wouldn't find it meaningful. They wouldn't find the arts and crafts meaningful. They wouldn't find, the gardening meaningful, or the spiritual, anything about it meaningful, or they would actually probably be rather depressed. They'd find it very, very difficult. They wouldn't be able to really have conversations, around the fire at night or whatever it is. They wouldn't know their place at all. Just the opposite, as conscious individuals or sensitive spiritual individuals, or whatever you want to call it, now living in the Matrix, coexisting in the Matrix with all these people, that's what we feel like, a fish out of water, a fish out of water. And so it's draining, it's exhausting, it's like, uninspiring. What inspires me, is my own personal growth, is spirituality, is consciousness, is meaning, is love. That kind of drives me. That's what motivates me. That's my fuel in that way, right? Getting to this next chapter, letting this process happen. I was doing a recording to a friend of the channel, friend of mine, on WhatsApp, and I was just saying, like, it sounds terrible, but like, let's just get the ball rolling here, on what needs to happen on this planet. Like, let's just get the ball rolling. If it's inevitable, if it needs to be purified, if it needs to be cleansed, which is a good thing, right? It's not a bad thing. I mean, it looks bad and it feels bad and it feels negative and it feels dark, but at the end of the day, we are a species that has become intoxicated, and we're intoxicating the planet and the future and whatever it is. And I'm no judgment of that, of good or evil. It's just what it is. When I look at my tomato trees or bush or whatever it is, and I see that the insects have taken over, the aphids have sucked out, or out all the juices from the leaf, all the life on the leaves, and the leaves are got no life in it, have turned yellow, and the whole plant is infested with aphids. The plant has got to be taken out the ground and thrown away. It's not going to make a comeback. I mean, to some degree it can, right? But this is just the stage of where the world is at. And so we know what's coming down the line. We've been waiting for this for a very, very long time. Not wishing for it to happen, but in anticipation for it. Because we know that in the anticipation for this for this purification happening, at the same time is the evolution happening. Is the same time the opportunities of spiritual dimensions opening up, other spiritual, a freedom, a sense of spiritual freedom that is opening up, spiritual expansion, opportunities, at the same time, because it's something's got to give. It can't just be coming, entrapping us and encroaching us and with its tentacles around our bodies, necks, and in our minds, and it's just getting tighter and tighter, and there's no payoff. There is a payoff for the spiritual individual. There is a payoff. At the same time, we are becoming more aware. You can feel it in yourself. You can definitely feel it in yourself. It's becoming supernatural, folks. It's becoming supernatural. It's becoming metaphysical, in that way. I feel things are switching on within us, psychic capabilities, just senses of knowing, intuition, or whatever it is. Just like being able to classify, clarify, identify the world for what it is, and not like, oh my goodness, it's just me thinking that the world is in this. No, you know it, you feel it. You can see the inauthenticities in people. You can see the meaninglessness in television shows. It used to be entertaining to you, whatever it is. You can see it straight away. You are bored. You're just bored by it. Before it was mildly entertaining or something like it. So much of it. It's just, anyway. And so to get this ball rolling, the ball is, and whatever it is, and sadly, it's the end of a species. As Terence McKenna says, it's too top heavy. We become too, consumed in ourselves. We become too expedient. Is that the word, expedient? I don't know. And so this is what needs to happen, and it's going to be, and so. I don't know. I mean, I know many of us do. We feel on the fence about, like, on the one hand, we do want this evolution to happen. And we do want this great shift to happen. But at the same time, we don't want this birth process to happen. We do want it to take place. But at the same time, we know the costs involved in it. We know what's at stake. We know how many human lives there are on this planet, including our own. We don't know how this is going to play out. We have no idea. So it is serious in that way. It is serious. So it's hard. I mean, I don't say I don't want to say we reap what we sow, but we are responsible to some degree, each one of us in our own unique way. I'm saying every single person on this planet, I think except for children to a certain age, are responsible, are complicit, compliant in, the end of the world. Even though we have been, dealt a heavy-handed dose of propaganda, trauma, we've inherited such a terrific history. I mean, it's horrendous, really is horrendous. And everything else, right? But I still think that the average person can, in their own way, choose, like this, my lady friend, I know, like, she just refuses. She just has no willpower. She has no determination. She has no ambition whatsoever. Like, for example, she's been putting on a lot of weight, and even for herself, she'll be like, I'll diet. There's no ways that she has even for her, she's like, well, I don't need a diet. I'll just put on more. Like, I reckon here in South Africa, especially amongst the African, I mean, I'm African population, I would say that at least 45 to 50% of women between the ages of about probably 25 and upwards are overweight. But I've said this before, but severely and like, dangerously overweight. And for them, they have no ability, they have no willpower, they have no strength whatsoever to try and lose it. I know of a woman, a black lady, I mean, you know, we had a Daisy, her name was. We were very close, and she had diabetes. She was diabetic, and they said to her, "You got to lose the weight. You got to stop with the sugar foods." She couldn't stop. She could not stop. So she went blind in the one eye, and they said, "Look, you're going to go blind in the other eye. Please, you got to stop. You got to stop for your children, for your job, for everything else." She couldn't stop. When you look at a time now where people have got no willpower whatsoever, no self-control whatsoever, no desire to change for the better whatsoever, no desire for any self-reflection whatsoever. I'm just passionate about it. I'm not sorry, I'm passionate about it, and I wish they would. So each individual in their own way, has sort of minor decisions to make in their own lives. And because they haven't chosen that, the world is in the situation that it's in today, to a certain degree. I mean, I think it was inevitable. It was inevitable. But I don't know. I do think that when I look at my lady friend, I just take her as an example, or like my brother, and I just take them on a microcosm, on an example, whatever it is, and I see like, yeah, they're not changing. They're like, no way. It's just not even an ounce, not even an inch, not even a centimeter, nothing, whatever it is. Anyway. Yeah, so that's it, folks. That's it. So like, we're waiting on ceremony. We're waiting around a lot of the time. A lot of the time, we're waiting to see what's going to happen with the tides that are shifting, that are changing. The seasons that are changing. We can feel that time is suppressing, time is shortening. It's getting more intense. It's harder to do things throughout the day as well. Firstly, there's less energy, there's less concentration. It's hard, it's overwhelming, things that we're overwhelmed. For those who've made it this far, I can just give a hint, an idea. If you're interested, I can tell you how in the description. Although I don't think anybody will be interested, and I'm just, because maybe I'm peculiar, but on YouTube I found that I was just getting too overwhelmed by, the suggested videos on the right hand side. You're watching the screen, like what you're probably doing now if you've made it this far, is that you're probably still scrolling down, or when you started watching this video, you started reading the comments, if there are any comments, whatever it is, or if you're Eric Preston, you gave it a thumbs down. And now you're scrolling through the sidebar, and now you probably right-clicked, opened a new tab, and you're going to watch that after this video, right? What I've done is that you can get a program, very simple, that just removes all the suggested videos. So my focus is only on the video that I'm watching. And my eyes, I'm not having that tendency of scrolling down and seeing what else is interesting, seeing what else is interesting. Now I'm focused on the video that I'm watching, and I'm not overwhelmed by all these pictures and images. Anyways, yeah, so we just need to be aware of that. We need to be aware of it, of how overwhelmed we are, how overstimulated we are, and because again, it's so draining. It just takes so much of our energy. So much of it, being online, on Facebook, all the pictures, all the comments on Twitter, on Instagram, whatever it is, scrolling. It's just like bombardment. Just overwhelms us. There's much more to be said on that, folks. I haven't really given any solutions, I suppose, but just that, we try and pace ourselves. And I think also what I'm trying to do, which sounds really like ridiculous, but like, maybe it counts. When I'm eating, I'm trying to, chew my food to, not just like I'm watching a movie or not watching a TV series, I'm listening to a lecture, I'm watching YouTube, and I'm just eating on my phone while I'm eating, and I'm not even concentrating. By the time I look down, And then I feel bloated because my stomach, I haven't actually chewed my food, I haven't even tasted it. So be present with your food, taste it, and go slow where you can. It's very, very difficult. Go slow. I mean, it's very hard for myself. Like, I don't really want a bath. I got so many videos that I want to watch. Let me have a bath. Commit to a bath. I don't want to meditate. I got so much things to do. I got to do this. I got to do that. And sometimes you can't put them all off, but it's like, you're in that rush all the time and you just can't sit still. You got to find those moments, as hard as they are, to swim against the tide and to just sit still and be still and reflect. So important. Folks, we'll chat soon. Take care.